I wanted to pry into your business just a little bit. But before we do that, can you tell us a little bit about your show and your mission on, BTR and with us as a people anyway?
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, I have, as you mentioned, several shows, but I guess the main broadcast is the Woman Song Community Experience, and that's here on Blog Talk Radio at blogtalkradio.com/womansong, and there, in particular, is where I speak to my sisters, and I talk to those who look like me for the express purpose of rebuilding a broken nation. That is the heart and soul of who I am as a woman. And as I am learning and as I am becoming, that is an expressive outlet for me, and it's where I choose to invite other people, lecturers and authors and healers and so on and so forth, that have information that is beneficial for the African American female community, so that we can heal ourselves and begin to form that sisterhood community that is a prerequisite, in my opinion, for true womanhood.
Sounds good to me. Sounds very good. I have always been, well, not always, but I'll say I've been learning a lot, and I guess you could call it being brought into the community about for 3 years now. I knew a little co-science, a little here, a little there, and I knew there was something wrong with the ruling class. But I, just recently learned a whole lot of, stuff within the past 3 years. Anyway, I was always under the assumption that, I'm like, why are all these sister groups popping up, and are women that messed up where we need to bond with each other all the time? And it's not just the conscious community, it's elsewhere. I mean, every time I turn around, some event is going on in the city where there's some type of women's conference, and I'm like, what is this? Is it a feed off of the white female trying to boost herself, and now we just taking it overboard, and I don't know what it is. But now that I'm in the, I see what's needed and where it's needed, I'm on board. But I try to, shy away from what I think is non-productive grouping, and you're going to find that anywhere. It has nothing to do with just women. It doesn't matter. It could be for nutrition, okay? It can be, you're going to find some folks who are counter what they say they're about. So,
right.
Anyway, I'm glad that I found a group of women, you being in this, where you are pro-woman, proactive, productive as women, but you are also including the brothers, and we need each other to keep moving.
Well, you know what, Tracy?
We're pro-man,
One of the things that is interesting, if you just think about black men, and when I'm speaking most often, unless I say, I'm always speaking about men and women in our community. When you listen to men talking, do you ever hear them say, or have you ever had an occasion to hear many men say, I just don't particularly like dudes. They are, this way and that way, and, I just can't deal with it. I just don't hang out with men. I only hang out with women because women are just better to hang out with. Have you ever heard a dude say that?
No. Maybe a one, sprinkle here, over there, but it's not as a collective. I hear that a lot with women, and I'm guilty of saying it myself, but I've always used other excuses for why I've said it. I use, being close to my dad, but, and let the truth be told, I had a balanced life. Yeah, I was close with my father when I was younger, but I also had a well-rounded, may not have been a sisterhood as far as with my siblings, but I was always around women, mainly older and adult women. So I did get that balance. So I would, for the record here, going back, to the other shows, I'm seeing more now, and yes, I had balance. I'll put it like that. So I understand what you're saying, though. You never see fellas talk, bad mouth. Oh, I can't stand this, or I can't be around a whole lot of women. Men, and da 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 da. Even though they may feel it, they don't outwardly, express that behavior or that non-productive language, I should say. But yeah,
and so when you're talking about all of the women's groups that are popping up and this kind of thing, it's because there's a need. There is a need for us to relearn this. Now, I cannot pinpoint, and I don't have the answer as to when this really, really started to take shape. I believe that I know when it happened. It was kind of around the late 80s, early 90s, because I remember the older women when I was younger actually did have, the hen parties and like my mom, she had lots of female friends, and the women came together and they would cook and have card parties, and they would do various activities together with other women.
Peas together.
Yes, exactly. But today, and so what I'm seeing today is there is less of that. And these are women that were friends, from their 30s and they're 60 now, and they're still friends, And so that kind of cohesive community, I think, really began to show the deterioration of our community, which I believe was initiated in the 60s with that assimilationist movement, or what some call the civil rights movement. And there is a lot, I think, that happened to our community as a direct result of that integration, assimilationist period, which we'll touch on later when we get into the feminist movement. A lot of things that were, I believe, very detrimental for our community went down at that time, and around the 80s, I think, is when a lot of that reached its maturation, and then we began to see the evidence that we are, beholding at this time.
Okay. Sounds good. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear my archives. I'm already ready. I know this is going to be good. Oh, God. Okay. Go ahead. Flock it to me.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just start. With the divine feminine. You were when you were first mentioning at the top of the show, you talked about the divine feminine and how that term is used a lot, but that many people may not know what it means.
Right.
And it's interesting that you would say that, because I always thought that. I always thought, well, in my mind, the divine feminine has many meanings to many different people. But in my learning, I have been able to, define that feminine entity and kind of break it down to the reflection that we are of our creators. You see, when we were created, male and female, we were made in the image of the creators, which means that there had to be femininity in the creators. Right. We're made in their likeness or reflection, so it is both male and female. So here again, this is the first introduction of what you will hear me say quite often is balance. There is balance. There was balance from the beginning. There are many references to the Creator's caring and relating to humankind as a mother. Even the idea of being born again. How were you once born? You must be born of the mother. Where there is creation, there must be the male and the female principle. All created beings, all of creation must come forth through the womb, the woman. Yes. You see, so there has to be a balance when we're talking about expressing the antipathy for the patriarchy, and instead wanting to supplant that with matriarchy. My position is that there just must be balance. That's right. It. It is not that difficult of an assertion to understand that once, even if you just feel that you are subjugated, once subjugated, why then must there be subjugation as opposed to, equality?
Right.
Why can't there be a parallel dwelling with separate yet equally important functions? You see, and that if we could just wrap our minds around that idea, I think that we could begin again to amalgamate the male and female together as they should be, and erase a lot of the otherwise very negative and corrosive thought patterns that we have as a nation, especially in particular the woman trying to get out from under something, and labeling it patriarchy.
Yeah, I hear you.
When I don't know where, but where in what reality is the black man patriarchal and running anything other than his mouth?
Hey, I'm lost at that too. I get confused. I'm like, what are you talking about? We're in a patriarchy.
What is the black man running in his society?
Exactly. I mean, and it's
50-yard dash.
We want him to run everything, but the truth is he doesn't. Okay,
right.
And I don't get where that's coming from either. I have to scratch my temple all the time. I'm like, what are you talking about? But I understand. Go ahead.
Right. So now that then would take us into the feminist agenda. When we're talking about the divine feminine and giving it its own honor and distinction, it doesn't need justification. It doesn't need to belittle anyone else to be great. It doesn't. We are created in such magnificence that it is not necessary that I bring anyone else down to elevate who I was created to be. I can just be.
Right.
So that's what the divine feminine means for me. She doesn't need justification nor excuse. She doesn't need to belittle nor betray. She simply needs to just be and walk in her divine mission. And that's what I seek to do. I seek to elevate the divine earths to their rightful position. That is the mission of the Woman Song.